Good point.
So, all right, let's talk about brands. We discussed that a little bit in a previous podcast. Tell me about you and trying brands. How do you go about it? I know you've tried a lot of stuff. You probably smoke more brands than I have.
Wow. If I look at my inventory, then it's on, this cigar scanner, which I inventory every cigar that I've smoked since I've been on this app. I've smoked started in 19, so I've smoked over a few thousand cigars. Just say a few thousand.
Yeah.
Blends to me, if you say, I got something I want you to try, Mateen, which I have, I've tried.
Yep.
If I like it, I'm going to stay with it. Matter of fact, let's go back to 5-Star Cigar. The guy that was there working, Micah Bruce, introduced me to Blue Mountain. Fell in love with their blend of cigar.
Yep.
I think they're online, or you have to purchase it through their company, but nonetheless, great cigar.
Mm-hmm.
You've introduced me to cigars some other people have. I don't mind trying a cigar.
Right.
And if I don't like it, then I'm not going to go with it, but I'm going to inventory and say, I remember that I've had this, and if I go back to revisit that cigar, it's different than it was maybe the first time.
Right.
Across the spectrum, I've smoked them all, Dennis. Not every one of them, but I smoked a lot of cigars, brother. Right. And I don't mind if someone comes in and say, I'd like for you to try this cigar for me and tell me what you think. Give me a review on it. I'm all in.
Yeah.
Because I know my palate.
Right.
And I could adjust my palate to whatever they may have. Now, I'm not smoking no street cigars.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to smoke no knockoffs. But there's some knockoffs out there, but I want a good quality cigar that has transition flavors from Philippine wrapper so that I can be able to enjoy it and I can tell other people about it.
Right.
So it don't really matter what blend. And if it's introduced to me, then I smoke it, brother.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think there are, and I don't think, I know that there are people out there who will watch this that will disagree with this statement. But in my opinion, cigars have a price point like fine wines do, that after that price point, they don't get better. They just get more pricey. They just cost more.
Good point.
Now, I'm not sure what in my mind that number is about $35 to $38 a stick. We got Padrones. I love Padron. Mm-hmm. It's a great cigar, and we've got guys that come in and buy them by the box. I smoke Padron quite often, and they've got a couple of cigars. They're 1926. They're number one. It's a great cigar, and even though I'm typically a Maduro guy, that natural in that number one is an excellent cigar, and it retails for I want to say $35.99,
something like that.
I've got no problem with that price on that cigar because it is worth every penny of it.
I'll say.
And I mentioned that I compare it to wine prices. My wife and I drink a lot of red wine. I'm not a white wine guy. We don't drink whites. We don't care for it very much. So I'm going to drink red wine with anything. If I'm having seafood or pork, it's still a red wine because that's what we like. In my opinion, after you get above $60 to $70 for a bottle, you don't really get a lot better. You just get more expensive. Now, and I know that there are exceptions to that rule. I've had a $120 bottle of wine that I thought was excellent, absolutely excellent. But was it that much better than the $60 bottle? That, to me, I'm not sure. It wasn't. Now, again, that's my palate. That doesn't mean that that's a rule for everybody. And I know people who have a much better palate when it comes to wine than I do.
Right.
And they may go, Dennis, you're full of crap, because I can tell you the difference. And they could probably do a blind taste test and tell me. I get that. But with cigars, I think once you get above $35 to $40 for a stick, it's not going to get a lot better. It's just going to get pricier.
That's a very good point. And if I may, I think let's go back some years ago, back up to 5-Star.
Yep.
The curly head by Arturo Fuente was a $2 stick then.
Yep.
It's probably a little bit more now than it was back then, but that's a good cigar.
Yep.
In the Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
But it was better than a $5 to $10 cigar, $15 cigar that I had smoked in the same Connecticut.
Right.
So it's just a price point.
Yes.
And not necessarily meaning, and I'm not talking about any particular brand or blend, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because a $10 stick is just as good as that $35 stick.
Right.
and it has just the same transition of flavor.
Right.
Now, I would tell guys who are just beginning to try to get into this smoking of cigars as a social thing for them because it's just fad. Tell them stay below $10.
Right.
Because you're not knowing what you're doing right now. You don't know the transition of the flavors that's in the cigar, but stay with under $10. And then when you get to a point, start graduating to higher price cigars to see if that's what you want.
Exactly.
Then that way you can fall back on your $10 budget.
There you go.
Or stay within your range because you don't want to overspend when you don't know what you're really doing.
Right.
Now, I've smoked a $40 cigar. Didn't really do anything different than this, say, $17 cigar.
Right.
Of the same type of blend.
Mm-hmm.
Say maybe a Corojo or a Belicoso or somewhere in there of a natural or even a Maduro.
Yep.
It didn't do anything different.
Right.
It's just the price point.
Yeah.
It's the selling point of how that particular manufacturer or that blend is.
Right.
Care less, I'm going to smoke a cigar. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier in the first segment. The best cigar that I'm smoking is the one I got in my hand.
There you go.
Come on now.
There you go.
Talk to me, Dennis.
We've got a couple of guys that come in here that will come in and do us a favor for something. You know, we've got such a good group of cooperative customers that help us out when we need something.
Right.
They come in and I needed a wind sweep put on my front door the other day, and a guy named Colonel Steve came in here and saw me up here messing with it. Well, as you know, and as a lot of you out there could well imagine, because I've only got one good eye, my depth perception suffers, and it's gotten maddening to me. I've been this way for 6 years, and most things don't bother me, but my depth perception, doing something up close, it just drives me crazy. And Steve came in and saw me struggling with that the other day. He goes, "Here, let me do this." He went to his car and he got a grinder out and he came over, took the old piece off, put the new one on, and I said, "Hey, let me get you a cigar." And so a lot of times when somebody does something like that for us here, and I give them a more expensive cigar, they are always appreciative. But a lot of times what I hear is, you know what, that really is good, but I'm still going to stick with my $12 cigar that I buy every day because I really like it.
Good point.
It's a good cigar.
That's a good point.
And we've got one customer, and I honestly, this is shameful for me because I pride myself on getting to know our customers. And I've got one guy that comes in, and he's been coming in here for a year. And I know at some point I knew his name, but I can't tell you what it is right now. And he comes in and he does the same thing every other day. He buys 6 cigars that are his budget sticks, and he buys one cigar that's about twice that price. And he smokes those, quote, budget sticks that are about $6 a piece. And he smokes those on a daily basis. And when he sits down at the end of Thursday night after he's had a long day at work and he's sitting on his deck at home and he wants to fire up a really good one, he smokes that $13 cigar.
Wow.
Because that's what he does. And it's like clockwork. 6 of his budget sticks, 1 that's more expensive. And that's great because that's what everybody should do. We ought to all smoke what we want and not worry about what anybody else says about it.
I agree, Dennis. Absolutely. There again, it goes back to it's subjective.
Yep.
It really is what you smoke. But I'm not going to give my top quality cigars that I have in my boxes to one of my friends that come over in my lounge to smoke when I know he don't smoke.
Right.
Don't waste my cigar.
Right.
I mean, I had to pay for that, although it may be sitting in my humidor for as long as it has been before you came over. Right. You're going to get what I consider a budget cigar.
Right.
Because I have a few of those.
For one thing, if he's not a regular cigar smoker, he's not going to be able to appreciate the difference anyway.
That's the reason why.
And that's perfectly okay. And again, that goes back to the way we look at customers who come in here. We have guys that walk in. I said, "What do you usually smoke?" He goes, "Well, I've just started smoking," and they're almost apologetic about it. I said, "You know what? Don't worry about that. We all just started smoking cigars at some point. Right. We're not looking down on you. Let's help you find something that you like. That's what we're going to do, and we're not going to make you feel bad about not being an expert."
And I'm sure you recommend something lighter on the lighter side so they can get started.
Usually a medium.
Medium,
yes.
Yeah. So they can not, get that harshness or that bitter taste, and then have the sickness or something behind it,
right,
and then not come back.
Yeah.
Because that's where, when you introduce a cigar to a female, You
Yep.
want to start out something with a little sweet taste on it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a tatawahe or
Right. Yeah.
an acid or something, a kupa kupa, or one of those natures,
Yep.
so that she can understand what she's smoking, and
Right.
then you can graduate. I've done that with a couple of females who's
Right.
graduated from that aromatic, sweet taste to a nice now medium blend.
Right.
And they can say, "Oh, Mateen, I appreciate that."
And we've seen that happen repeatedly in here.
that's what we
And
want,
you
Dennis.
mentioned females. We are seeing more and more women who come in here and smoke cigars. We've probably got more ladies who smoke cigars in this shop now than we've ever had before. We have a ladies' night once every 6 weeks.
I need to come.
And
No, I'm just kidding.
it's great. Well, you really should. And
Yeah.
we've got a great friend of the shop who basically conducts those meetings, quote meetings. A guy named Greg McGraw, and he is a wealth of knowledge.
Okay.
And Greg comes in here prepared, and he teaches them about the cigars. He teaches them not only about how to cut and how to light, but how to look for the different flavors that are in any individual cigar.
That's
And
good.
and the ladies love it. My wife is not a cigar smoker.
No, by no means.
Back about 6 months ago, we bought her a pipe, and she's smoking the pipe a little bit. She was a cigarette smoker for many years, and so she's never been able to comprehend, what do you get out of smoking a cigar if you're not inhaling it? Because she smoked cigarettes and she inhaled those.
Ooh.
But for some reason, she is enjoying smoking the pipe occasionally. She doesn't smoke it much. But 2 weeks ago, when we had the most recent ladies' night, she was here. And she told me later, she said, I got a lot out of that. She said, I really learned some stuff, and it made it more interesting for her, which tells me that, who knows, she might even smoke another cigar at some point.
Maybe at some point.
Right.
I love that. I love to see women do that. Sisters of the Leaf, I see that quite a bit. Even a lot of ladies that are on the cigar scanner
Right.
app that I follow, they smoke cigars daily.
Right.
And they talk about cigars. Good point that you make. A lot of people don't realize you can't inhale these not like a cigarette.
No.
And if you are an inhaler of these, then you're strong.
Yeah.
You're stronger than Mateen L,
Yeah.
because even one retrohale got me buzzed.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is natural and it's strong.
Yeah.
And I like that euphoric feeling. I do. I enjoy that, and I want to stay there. I don't want to continue to inhale this.
Right.
But I want to get that
Oh, yeah.
to make me feel I can appreciate what I'm smoking.
Right.
And then take this transition flavor. So those that are out there that are listening, please don't inhale these, because you'll get sick, and then now you don't want to smoke cigars anymore. So
And nobody wants that to happen.
no, absolutely, we don't.
So, in an effort to help our engineer and the guy who is bringing this all to you guys, Bill McCord, we're going to wind this session down and make it a little bit easier for him to clip these segments together, and without having to just cut in. So I want to thank our friend Mateen L for being here. We are at Holy Smoke Cigars in East Ridge, Tennessee, and we're going to take another little break, and we'll be back later to see you.